Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. May the good Lord bless you. I really do mean that, you all. This video, back in the 1960s, I don't know when in the 1960s, when I was a youngster, we lived up on East River Mountain, lived in an old 4-room shack, no running water. You know the drill of what my story is. My dad was a big-time radioer. So we had this cabin me and my brother carried all the parts to up on top of the mountain. It was about 700 foot to the top of that mountain. We carried enough material up there to build an 8x8 cabin. So Dad took it over and made him a radio room in there so he could talk to people all over the world with a CB radio, believe it or not. Anyway, he put a power line up there, and when he put that power line up there, he, for some reason or another, in the 1960s, drove this piece of metal into the ground in the 1960s. It was a galvanized piece of a cross arm that used to hold telephone pole cross arms straight. There was one on each side. They went like this, and they held that cross arm plumb to hold the power lines up. So years ago, they took all that stuff out and put in that 765. So they did away with these things and threw them out. So evidently Daddy got him one of them, and to make him a guy war hook, he drove this thing into the ground up to about right there. And I thought the other day, if I could pull that up, I could make something out of it in honor of my daddy, so that's what I'm going to do. We are going to make a knife, a short knife out of this. I've already took some measurements on it, and I will show you that in a close-up. This is 3/16 of an inch thick. I don't know if it will harden, but I don't really care. If it doesn't harden, I can case harden it, okay? But I'm going to make a short knife. It'll be 8 inches long when I'm done. So let me give you some close-ups of how we're going to do this. So you all, I hope you can see this. Here's the handle, which is going to be bone. It's exactly 4 inches long. The material is 1 1/8 of an inch wide, and it's 3/16 of an inch thick. Here's the blade. It's 4 inches. You can see I drew it in with a magic marker, Sharpie. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this blade out of here, and we're going to grind it into a knife. Now we know that it don't make any difference if you are forging a knife. I don't care what you're forging it out of. You're simply making a billet. This is what a billet looks like once it's been forged. Then you grind your knife out of it, or file it out, or you hammer some of the shape out with your blacksmith shop. But a knife is simply a billet that's been hammered out of whatever piece of metal that you're working with. You can see I've already center punched it for the rivets. So it's soft material. I don't know, like I say, whether it will harden or not, but let's go ahead and get it cut out. Get this shape right here cut out. What we'll do, you all, is cut this off square right here. Now we'll cool that off now. I will go over to the grinder and I will round up the bottom edge and square this part of it up. Simple knife making. Folks, that's the way it's been done since the beginning of time. A billet of steel shaped into a sword, a knife, whatever it is you're trying to make. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take it in there to the grinder, the belt sander, and we are going to sand. Now you ought to save sanding belts. One thing you can do is you can take a lot of this material off of this knife blade just by filing. That's what you see me doing here. You see how I got it clamped to this steel table with a C-clamp, see? And that way you can hold it flat and work on it. Okay, you all see how much I've taken off of that? Obviously, the old timers would have went ahead and finished the knife up just like that right there. They would have filed it down and smoothed it up and put their edge on it, because that's the way that they did it. But since I have this electric grinder in here, or this sander, we're going to smooth it up and finish it up with the sander. And you all see that? So now what we're going to do is we're going to drill the holes in the handle. Then we're going to cut some of this material off so that we can make the handle just a little bit, maybe a 3/16 of an inch thinner in this direction. So let's drill the holes in. Now we have the holes drilled. We're going to take 3/16 of an inch off of this. So we're simply going to lay something down here, a straight edge. And this, or in this case, a file, which has got a little bit of crook to it, which is fine and dandy with me. We'll make some mark on it. So we'll go back around to the workshop and we will cut this off. See how I took some of that off of there, you guys? Now, if you've never tried this, this really ain't that complicated. Boy, my daddy would be proud of that knife right there. Now, what we got to do next, you all, we got to harden this if it'll harden. So let's take it around to the blacksmith shop. Now, you all, since this is a mystery metal right here, we don't know what kind of metal it is. If you'll remember a few videos back, one of the ways that you can test to see whether or not you can harden this in water or harden it in oil, which would be the best, what we're going to do is we're going to take the end of this thing right here, this same piece of metal, and we're going to heat it up to critical, okay? When that comes up to critical, we're going to put it up, we're going to quench it in cold water. We're going to take it over here on the end of the anvil and we're going to see if it breaks. If it breaks, we know we quench in oil, okay? If it doesn't break, we can quench it in water. All right, you all, here we're going to come out of the fire with it. We're going to go into the water quench. Make sure it's up past critical. It is. We want it to get stone cold. And it is. Let's see if it'll break. All right. Did you see that snap off, you all? That means that we quench in oil. That's the test that you do on your mystery metal. It'll probably break again. Sure enough, that stuff has got enough carbon in it that we need to quench this knife in oil. So that's what you do to keep from making a mistake. If it's soft iron, you can quench it in water, everything's hunky-dory. If it's not, you will quench it in water, it'll look pretty, but then you will break it, okay? So that's the way that you do that test. So you can take a look right there where that broke. And you can actually see that shiny part of it. The inside of that metal, it's been drove in the ground for over 60 years. Since the 1960s. It's high carbon, annealed steel, you guys. We will quench it in oil. All right, you all. I've told you this and I'll tell you again. Put that knife, if you possibly can, in your fire with the backside down. That way you won't be miring the edge that you just ground off, okay? Because this is going to get hotter quicker than the thick part. So put it in the fire. Backside straight down, just like this. Cut your air off. Set that right in the fire. All right, you all, there's what it looks like. All right, now, we'll take us a file and see if that hardened it. If it did, still just a little bit on the hot side. Once you quench it in oil, you all, you'll never break it if you stick it in water to cool it down, okay? You'll never break it. All right. Let's see if it hardened. Find my file here somewhere. I had one. Here we go. Oh yeah, brother. Slicker than dog snot. Skating right across it. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and draw some of the hardness out of the blade. Okay, we're gonna get it to the color of straw. See you all. Can you all see that? I hope you can. Now remember, some videos back I told you to take a piece of steel and heat it up cherry red. Okay, put that thing down on your anvil block or somewhere where you can hold it. Take that knife blade and put the back of it down on that hunk of iron. Now, you all probably won't be able to see the colors run. But that's way hotter than 450 degrees in an oven, you all, so you have to be very careful and watch it. Because when that color goes, it'll go. And there it goes. We'll dip it in the oil and then we'll take it right over here and we'll wash it in water. Yep, you can see where the colors run in that thing. All right, next we got to put the handles on it, so let's take it back around. All right, y'all. Bone handles is what this thing's going to get. A bone-handled knife. So let me get the holes drilled and we'll rivet them on there. All right, you all, there's our rivets. They should spread right out in that hole, you guys. Knife handles were not typically glued on, you all. They were riveted on. So I had that bone that I purchased a while back, so I decided I'd use it on this knife. So now I've got to take the sander over there and just roll the edges of this over, okay? So that's what we're going to do next. Guys, I have a vacuum cleaner hooked up to this sander, and it really does help you. It's too dark for you guys. I'll get you over in the light. Now, I'm going to personalize this for my dad. Dad called himself the wood chopper on the radio. So I can tell you right now, I ain't the handiest person at writing stuff, you all. I never was, and now that I'm old, I'm shaky as all get out. That ain't no excuse, is it? Then I'll put my initials on the handles. I forgot to put that stuff on the blade. I got a set of stamps to do that with you all, but I got in a hurry. So now we'll take it over to the polisher over here. Let me get some stuff to put on the wheel there, and we will polish this knife. High gloss polishing compound, you all. Can you see that? Get you all over here just a little closer to this. See how shiny that makes that? It just polishes that bone just as slicker than dog snot. See this side? Watch this side. By the way, be careful with these things. Now you can see my initials on there, I hope. And you can see my pathetic wood chopper on this one. And if you'll notice, you will see sanding marks in that. I'm just going to leave them in there just for kicks and giggles. Like I say, typically these were not glued on, you guys. Now let's go do the blade. Over here to the other wheel. All right, you all, I think you guys get the picture there. All right, you all, finish her up with a smooth diamond stone, honing stone. We'll see if we can get us an edge on it. By the way, I will be making a sheath for this, but not in this video. This year, while I'm hunting, just in honor of my daddy, I'll carry this knife. And I will skin a big fat deer with it or something. I'll blood it. Now you all, this video will be a short video, probably 20 minutes. We're looking about 2.5 hours to fashion this knife right here. Now, guys, I'm not a professional knife maker, and I don't claim to be. I never have been. I mean, there's people that can spit these things out, and they are perfect. And sometimes I just wish that I could get them perfect too. But when you're doing stuff by hand, there's always going to be some little glitch somewhere that you'll either live with it or you'll throw the thing in the trash. That knife right there, you all, I'm impressed with the steel. That thing has been drove in the ground since the 1960s. Now, the old timers say the longer a piece of metal like that stays stuck in the ground, that it absorbs carbon. But I don't think it had absorbed enough carbon to do what it done. Remember, we tested it critical in water with a hammer to see whether or not we needed to cool this in oil or cool it in water. So we cooled it in water, then we drawed the temper on a piece of red hot steel. And she certainly is looking sharp. Let's see if it'll just cut anything right off the bat. And I ain't got it sharp yet, you guys. Now, one of the ways you can tell when you start whittling a piece of wood, if that edge just starts getting really dull right off the bat, then the edge is it's too soft. But this one's not. Well, I can almost see my dad now when I could hand him that right there. And folks, this is just crude, okay? My work is crude. But anyway, you all, that's how you make a hunter's skinning knife from start to finish. Just a hunter's basic tool. 8 inches long. With that, you all, may the good Lord bless you. Until next time, have a good, safe hunt this year if you hunt. If you don't, just sit there on a couch and eat peanuts and watch television. So long for now.